Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I actually admire that you can actually be this fake, and like when the TV comes on, how you can just change. You're the scum of the earth.
You don't doubt me, I couldn't do it. The odds that I couldn't do it. Look at me now. Lebanon, headshot, dead. That's it.
There's guys out there that are doing this day in and day out. They live and breathe this stuff that they don't get the recognition or credit that they deserve.
Is the secret to fighting?
Not being a fucking pussy. Honestly, you can teach anybody how to fight. But like, if you're a fucking pussy, that's a really hard thing to teach someone not to be.
Murky!
Yo, what's up, King?
What is up, dog? Oh, a king. I'm a king today? God, I feel like after all the shit we talked last week against each other, I'd be like a Pondy or something, bro. What's up, man? How about last night, bro? In the Discord, turning up, fucking new champs, I guess, if you want to call it that.
And new. We have one and new and one interim, I believe.
No, it's an and new. Two and news. But I mean, really though, that belt was bullshit. So, but we'll get into that. We'll talk about that a little later. So,
well, let's just start it off. I want to give you. I should have mentioned this before we started, but fuck it, we're here. I want you to go, just go, rant, whatever you want to say it now,
or forever
and
hold my peace.
Let it be known. Yeah, speak your piece.
Right.
Main event: Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. Dricus du Plessis wins a split decision, becomes new middleweight champion of the world. Speak your piece.
All right. Number one. They should never have a card in Canada again. Canada sucks ass. Number two, they should never have a woman MMA match for a belt without a champion currently in place ever again. And number three, Sean Strickland got fucking gypped. He won that fight. Fuck du Plessis. Just kidding. I actually like him. But I think Sean Strickland won that fight, rounds 1, 3, and 5. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, other people saw it differently, aka you. Some of us saw it differently, but the reason why, and I'll go ahead and just fucking get this off my chest because I said it to you earlier today. Here's my thoughts. All right. So the reason why I said what I said earlier in the group chat was this, because if there was anybody else in the position of Sean Strickland last night, they would have won that fight based on how close that fight was. If it was Izzy, the judges would have gave that fight to Izzy. If it was Usman, the judges would have gave that to Usman. And if it was Leon, if it was anybody who was a respectable, creditable champion, that fight would have gone to the champion. But I feel like because of all the shit that went down this week, the fucking all the shit Sean Strickland said, the LGBTQWRSV, whatever the fuck shit he was talking, pissed people off. The judges were a little biased, and I feel like they kind of gypped him from getting his belt back. I'm just saying. That's just my personal opinion. And yeah, I think he won. And I don't feel like Izzy should get the next fight. But obviously people are going to say, oh, it's the African versus the African. You got to do it. It's for fucking money. I don't care. I don't fucking watch UFC for these kind of fights. I watch it because I enjoy the fights. And that fight last night was a great fight. And we need to see that shit again because it was a champion versus a guy who barely lost, quote unquote, could have been a fucking gone the other way. You got to run it back. You can't just let someone who you just dominated 5 rounds jump you and get a title fight before you get your chance to fight for the belt again. And we talked about that last week. Just like you were saying, there were stipulations to it. I was like, oh, if DDP knocks him out, yeah, let Izzy jump up and fight for the title next. But if it's a close fight, we all agreed, did we not, say if it was a close fight, then we felt like there should be an immediate rematch. And what was it? It was as close as a fight as you could fucking get. That's my piece.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So the next fight you want to see is the rematch between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis.
I do. Does everybody else want to see that? No, but yes. Or I'm even okay with seeing Strickland versus Izzy too.
Right.
for the number one contender fight. I'm okay with that. If that's how the UFC wants to go and say, okay, okay, Strickland lost. He got jumped above a bunch of people to get the title shot in the first place. Maybe we should have him fight Izzy again and the winner of that fights DDP. I would be okay with that. But
where does Hamzat fit into that?
He doesn't. And I'm going to tell you why, because he hasn't beat a creditable middleweight to deserve a title shot yet. He needs to fight one more time at that weight division and beat a number one contender to get a title shot. I don't think he jumps Izzy. I don't think he jumps Strickland. If anything, maybe he fights Strickland. Give Hamzat versus Strickland. Fuck it. Like, I'm okay with that. If they want to do DDP Izzy, then they need to co-main that with Hamzat versus Strickland.
Ooh. Okay.
Fair?
Fair. That's fair. That's
Okay.
That's absolutely fair.
All right.
What I think is going to happen is you're going to get Izzy versus DDP. That's what I think is going to happen after UFC 297. I think you're going to get Izzy versus DDP. Dana White already said he wasn't really interested in a rematch, which is kind of crazy to say given the fight that we just watched last night. But that was what he said. So I think Izzy DDP, like I said last week on the episode, I think that's the fight that happens after this, no matter what.
Izzy DDP.
And Izzy DDP. I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see where that falls. If that ends up on a 300 thing, I know they're throwing that around last night, or something else. I think that might be too quick, and I don't know if Izzy really wants to do that or whatever. If they want to do that, I don't know. Strickland Hamzat, I like. And then you have a clear number one contender after Izzy DDP. So if it's Izzy DDP, winner of that fights winner of Strickland Hamzat, that gets you through probably a majority of 2024 in that division.
Sure.
And then, so you have 3 fights or whatever lined up, 2 more title fights that probably gets you through a majority of this year.
I do have a question for you before you go on to more into depth with that. Where do you feel like Jared Canonnier stands in this division right now? He has a win over Strickland, and then once he got the win over Strickland, he didn't get the title shot. Strickland did. So where does he kind of lie into this scenario? Because I kind of feel like he's getting overshadowed here a little bit, which I get it. He's not like a personal like superstar like everyone else is and that we just mentioned. But I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. He does have a win over Strickland. So to have that win should grant him some sort of top 3 fight to at least give him a chance to fight for a title. I mean, before he gets too old,
Yeah, he also beat Marvin Vettori after Strickland. The only thing that I see is he only and I don't know that I realized this until now looking it up, but he only fought once last year.
Yeah.
He fought in June, and that was it on a fight night, him versus Vettori. That was his only fight last year.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I think that sounds like a personal thing that with him. That sounds like, his inactivity. That seems like it's up to him. So I don't know. I mean, I think if he wants to fight again, he can come back and, maybe, I don't know, you're going to have to fight somebody else in that division. Maybe he comes back and fights Robert Whittaker.
But they're locked up already, though. I mean, Robert Whittaker is fighting Paulo Costa.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe you give Hamzat Jared Cannoneer.
Nah, you can't do that. It's got to be Hamzat Strickland, DDP Izzy, or Izzy Strickland, Hamzat DDP. That's the only scenario for a title I see right now. Now, if they did give Hamzat Jared Cannoneer, that may be that when he needs to get him the title shot, you know what I'm saying? Maybe. But I feel like he has to beat someone bigger than Jared Cannoneer. But then again, like I said, Jared Cannoneer has that win over Sean Strickland. But you already know once someone gets the strap, once someone holds the belt, they're a whole new fighter. We see it with Leon Edwards. We saw it with other fighters too. Strickland's a whole new animal now. I think that fight goes differently if they fight again. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as the fight itself goes last night, I mean, I don't have any like. Am I a little upset that if the fight went to DDP? Yeah, because I scored it a little bit differently, based on 6 takedowns, and if you really watch the fight, none of those takedowns were effective. I mean, Strickland was able
maybe
to get
one.
Yeah, maybe one. I mean, Strickland was able to get up and get back to his feet. The cut on his eye wasn't from damage; it was from a headbutt. So, I mean, if you would line those guys up and ask a random stranger who looks like they won, any 10 out of 10 times, the stranger's going to say Sean Strickland.
Well, minus the cut on his eye. You're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought the cut on his head was from the headbutt. He had a cut up here, and he had a cut on his eye because there was a really clear video of a right hand that came over the top, and cut Sean.
The one that caused the blood
I didn't
in
see
the
the
eye.
headbutt. Well, that's I think it was the cut from up here that was running down into his face.
Yeah, that was the one that caused him not to be able to see.
Right, the cut he had under his eye was 1,000% from a right hand. We saw that.
Fair. But the one that affected him the most was a headbutt. So
yeah,
I mean, if you get cut under your eye, it's not going to affect your vision because it's bleeding. You're bleeding under your eye. You're bleeding down. So
yeah,
I mean, above the head, it's going to go right in his eye.
If it's close enough, if it's in that eyelid, but it wasn't. It was a lot lower. But the cut above his head, I think, played a big part into it.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if you look at Duplessis, I mean, he looks like swollen, dude. He looked like he got his face beat in, and that's crazy to think about because if you really look back on it, you don't really see Strickland land like these crazy powerful like strikes, but dude, he just was overwhelming him with just straight rights, just straight strikes, man, and then he was just jabbing him up, dude. So.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the damage on DDP's face, I believe, came from that first round. Like that shit happened in the first round. He got beat up, his face swelled up, his eyes shut. A lot of that happened right away. So that's the other thing. Like if damage is the biggest criteria, but they were talking about this on the pay-per-view last night, Dominic Cruz, and John Anik specifically, like the damage it's not like at the end of the fight you look and go, who has taken more damage over all 5 rounds? It's round by round scoring. So round 1, Strickland wins, and you look at all that damage and you go, oh yeah, for sure, Strickland did more damage, he wins. But then that damage doesn't go into the second round and go, well, look what Strickland did at round 1. That doesn't affect the scoring, for round 2. So I think that's a big part of it also, the damage factor. But, Dricus was definitely touching Sean up.
Yep.
And, I mean, it's super close. Like, you can tell from our, most recent short clips and stuff that we posted today immediately after the pay-per-view. People are all over the place.
Yeah.
Like all over the place. I put a poll up on YouTube as well. That's like pretty much 50-50. Occasionally it'll go up in favor of Sean, then it comes back down, goes up in favor of DDP, comes back down. So it's pretty obvious to me that people are all over the place on this decision. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I said this on last week's episode. I said this to you throughout the week when we were talking about it. And I still believe this, and especially after actually watching the fight last night, what I believe to be true is that DDP won the pressure battle. They're both pressure fighters. And Strickland was pressuring DDP in the first round, and then in the middle rounds, that kind of changed. And then, the 5th round, obviously, Strickland won. But the rounds in between, I think, DDP was really pressing forward and had Strickland backing up a lot more. And it was such a close fight. Like we talk about octagon control or ring control. Like it's such a minor factor in judges scoring. But when you have such a close fight like this by the numbers and just by the eye watching it, how close it is, those types of things start to have a bigger impact in the outcome of the fight.
Fair.
Right? So Same thing with takedowns. Like the damage, there wasn't very much damage from the 6 takedowns that DDP had, but they still score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's in such a razor close fight that was between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. Those little things start to add up and matter and score him points to win him the fight. That's how I saw it last night. That's what I was trying to say to you last night too. Like it however you look at it, those little things and little things that add up to score points went in favor of Dricus du Plessis and not Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
Sean didn't have a knockdown. Sean didn't have a takedown. He outstruck him, but not by a whole lot. He, significant strikes, but not by a whole lot. So it's like you start to throw those things together, and I think no matter what, like I said, man, looking at how people feel about this all over the internet today and just on our short videos and our posts and things like that, people are all over the goddamn place.
Yeah.
So I think if you had 3 different judges in there, the outcome could be different. I don't know. I mean,
Sure.
it's such a personal opinion, it seems.
Fair enough. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what I want to see next or what the UFC is going to get together next. Do I think DDP will be ready for 300? I don't think so, to be fair. I mean, he got beat up last night, so I don't.
He did say, he did kind of say, he did say that he would be willing to do that in his post-fight press conference. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. That's 3 months away. That's roughly a 12-week turnaround. He's got to get healed up and whatever, get in a camp for whoever's next, which they don't even know yet. I think if you had an opponent lined up, like if they were willing today to say you versus Izzy on 300, yes or no, I think he might say yes to that, because then it's like a very clear timeline. But like you have to think, I don't know. I think they're gonna give it some time before they even offer that to him, and then what comes of it. So
yeah, fair. I mean, overall, it was the best fight on the card.
It was, yeah. Well, yeah, on the main card, yeah.
Yeah.
On the main card,
you felt there was better before.
Agree. Yeah. I mean, fucking. What the fuck was it? What was the
About the girl fight?
No, dude, don't start that bullshit with me, dude.
I mean, she beat the shit out of her though, so fair enough.
Yeah, is it not? I'm not saying it, but what's the name? The guy that missed weight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a good one. Tavares.
Yeah, Tavares.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how you say the other guy's name.
Is it
City?
City. Yeah, City.
Yeah. So City Tavares was a fucking
that was a banger.
Scrap, dude.
That is true.
That was an absolute
you kind of forgot about that one because of the Strickland du Plessis fight, but that's definitely one that was there.
Yeah, I feel like the weight cut probably fucked them over. Because had he not missed weight, I think they get a fight of the night bonus. They gave fight of the night bonuses, I believe, to Strickland du Plessis, and then both of the women's prelim fights.
Oh, Jillian Robertson and Jasmine.
Yeah, exactly. Judavicius. So they gave it to Judavicius and Jillian Robertson. But yeah, I mean, I think Ramon Tavares and City, man, that was a fucking
banger.
Scrap, dude.
I agree with that. So,
but missed weight by 4 pounds, wasn't even close. These guys are both 10-2 in the bantamweight division and are 1-1 against each other. So I'd love to see that fight again too.
Which one?
Ramon Tavares and City.
Oh yeah, they got to go for round 3 on that.
Yeah.
So, but Murky, I say we do this. Great talk about Strickland du Plessis. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back for part 2 where we discuss the remainder of the card, and we can go into more detail on the others. but this will give everybody a chance to truly hear our thoughts on Strickland du Plessis.
Amen.
So we'll catch you guys on part 2.